So you do the world's most basic knot almost.
Well, that's
twice around instead of once.
If it's on the cube and we're moving the
Goes
cube
through.
out of it, just having that light and what I was
Get
thinking
some slack in it.
off clicks is scanning.
This is the ideal thing to upload to the Fishbon website.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I was thinking.
We're gonna go again, and I'm gonna think about the way this is turning. It's going around this way. So I'm gonna start this other one that's gonna worm its way back. So I want it to finish this way so that it fits.
So it goes around the top like
So,
this, yeah.
exactly.
No, of course not. The poor guys.
Around, it's finishing like it's supposed to. When I tuck it through, I'm making sure I can't just tuck it here because I'm not capturing this other line. We're gonna go around so it's actually going out. Because if you imagine this piece not there anymore, it's like you're doing the world's simplest knot again. It's got to go around that other one for it to be a knot. So the same thing, but you got to do that extra turn, which is what makes it, instead of a fisherman's knot, this is a double fisherman's knot. Well, in this version, it's a double fisherman's loop.
Double fisherman's loop.
So I give myself about 6 inches of tail, and then I start working the slack back through the knot. Then your loop gets a little big, so now you got to work your loop smaller.
I don't want to deal with that right now. I want to deal with
That's my favorite part.
Fabulous.
There you go.
Great.
Nice, yeah.
So that is our knot for rigging to aerial equipment. Yes?
This is a
There
good
it
one.
is.
There's a lot that'll work. The 888 will work.
But this is what you suggest.
This is what I like because it's sort of out of the way and there's less sort of features on that you can potentially snag on. With the 8, sometimes depending on how it sits, it'll probably flatten out with this much load, but it can get to a place where maybe it can get featured. And I think this one may have a little bit superior efficiency. I'm not sure. Overall strength.
All right.
Okay. All right, fabulous. So how does one go about attaching the rope here to the cleat, and then I know through the ring, obviously, with maybe the one loop through, but what's the best knot to?
How to attach to a cleat or how to attach to a ring?
It's gonna go. It's going on
Well,
the
both.
website. Yeah.
Okay, well let's look at one at a
I'll hook you up, girl.
time. With a cleat? Because it's coming down, you kind of want to hook it on something, right? So trying to hook it over the top is going to be just weird and awkward. So I'm going to start, like, pick my height that I like, hook it over the bottom, and then just going quick, you're taking a load, wrapping it around. But as you go, you're not going to, like, just wrap it around, because that leaves some looseness and it can drop down on you. So as you go, you want to make sure that you're, like, pulling this tight as you go. By the time you get to, depending on how much load you're taking, that'll tell you how many wraps you need to do. You should get to a point where I could hold all that weight just by not actually pulling the rope down, but just by keeping it from flopping out. There should be enough friction in here that all the friction is holding it. And all I'm doing is keeping it from swinging this way and reducing the friction. By that point, you start doing a figure 8. Snug it after one. You can do the bottom on a figure 8, and then the trick is for the last one. If I were going to just finish this figure 8, if you go across this way, this would be on top. What I want to do is do this same loop, but I want this to be underneath.
Oh, so you
Flip it that way,
and then pull, and then
it's captured under.
okay, yeah.
Or if you really, because this is stiff line,
Yeah.
the stiff line doesn't fold over and squinch up as much.
Yeah.
You may even want to do that twist on the bottom and on the top. Do it twice in a row. Just because this type of line will slide out a little bit more. But make sure, like I said, as you go over and do your wraps around, that you're snugging it as you go. Every step of the way, take the slack in it.
Okay, and then here, this.
Yeah.
Okay, this one you said maybe this one should go this way too, right?
Yeah. And this is a hard one to pull tight, but you want to snug that up too.
And then once
more
again,
time on top.
like, this probably.
I always switch it up too.
There you go.
Nope.
No?
See what side you're coming on?
Oh, so
From there and on the side, so you want it to go this way. Like, look at the way it would figure eight if you didn't do the tuck, and that's what you're
like
matching
that.
up.
Like that's correct, right?
Yeah.
Like that. Excellent. Okay, that's good. I totally get it.
And then check this out. Since you got this big old thing on the back now, you don't want to make a big mess out of that. So about that far away, coil, coil, coil. And you actually get a little bit further. See the tail, see the bottom of your loop. Just a couple turns. Take the line through the top, around bottom, and this hangs out of the way.
Man. That's magnificent.
And to release it again, you don't try flipping it over, don't try making a mess. You do anything different, you're gonna sit here and have to run the whole thing out from the tail. Just unhook from the loop, pops through the center, and
Cast it away.
and you're there.
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay.
You know, say this, and there's my aerialist or whatever on it. Just going, so presumably this side is tight. Here, hold this end down here, tension on it. So that's like I'm holding something up on the plate.
okay.
And I get a little bit of room on it, and I might try and pinch that. You know, once around,
Yeah.
twice around.
Yeah.
And with the static line, because it's a little stiff and it likes to slide out of things, maybe a third time around. And that's
Right.
good.
Third time's the
And
charm.
presumably this has some length on it, so you might actually not have an end. You might have a big 10-foot end, in which case like pulling all that through would be a little bit obnoxious. So you're gonna do a variation on that. Where, let me slide more length through. So now I have this long end, I don't wanna pull all of this through there. I'm just gonna fold it over. And I can pretend this bite is a tail.
Okay.
Tension on it.
Yeah.
So you pull a bite, round once, round twice. In this instance, I don't really have enough to do a good third. It's a little bit short. Most of the time, 2 is fine. This rope is a lot squishier. This is set, and this would be like just totally steady as it is. Just like I said, this is a stiffer, so it's not going to want to make those turns. So it's going to be more loose. So the third time will help.
Yeah.
And then, because you have this loop, remember how when we coiled this up afterward,
Yeah.
we made a loop in here and we
Yeah.
pulled it through that center? Here, I can just coil up the line, and instead of making a loop here, I just take this loop that's already there, and I use it the same way to hold my coil. And that also prevents your tail from being able to work its way out, because it has like a stop on
added
it. But
bonus.
mostly it keeps your the dead end of the line out of the way.
Okay. So would that be, like, let's take the case of when we have like, let's say we're distributing the load, right? So there's this line, this ring is supporting one of those guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this thing is like floating here.
It's floating in space, yeah, and then we're connecting from line from this cleat through here, through to here. What's the best kind of knot to make here? And is it this kind of thing, the same kind of deal here?
Well, I mean, best of all, you notice that these cleats have holes in the middle of them.
Yes. So maybe just a knot on the other side.
At the other end of that, what's coming down. So I mean, at this point you decide if it's going to be permanent, and there's different stuff you can do. You could like, you can put an end through and you can tie one of these guys here. You go through the ring and tie another fisherman's loop on this side, or whatever you want to do.
Oh, okay. Just to decide whether it's going to be permanent or not is the deal.
Yeah.
Really.
Or you can do basically like the double half hitch thing that I showed you, that we just did on this line.
Okay.
You can do something like that here as well.
And then, but the idea here is though when you come through this one, so this one's hanging here. If you come through the rope, you come around once and then again. So you do the at least one loop through.
Yeah. So
like that kind of thing.
I'm doing this.
Yeah.
So as the load, here, hold the ring.
Yeah.
Because it's doing those extra turns around, it's getting all that friction. And you notice the angle that this is making. It's making a tight turn, but it's still kind of continuing forward.
Yeah. It's not as much stress
So
on the
as
rope.
opposed to
Right.
hold the rope long end, as opposed to that, That's kind of putting more of attention on this.
Totally get
on
it.
this point.
Yeah.
And it's only a little bit with that geometry, but it's just that this is such a small angle for a rope this fat. I mean, this is smaller than this. So that's a really tight angle. So like I said, that becomes the weakest point. And because of the geometry of this, these, if you go really shallow, like if I built it like this, each one of these lines is taking more tension than the line that's holding the person. If you do 120 degrees, which is even thirds, then if this line is holding 100 pounds, then you have 100 pounds here and 100 pounds here on each one.
Yeah, so it'd be better to have it out here. Like
yeah, the longer it is, the more advantage.
The more it'll be distributed.
Yes.
Okay.